Good afternoon, Barry, and welcome to Talk Boxing Farringdon. It's a pleasure to have you here to discuss the festival, Mucky Weekender, Dub Pistols, and, well, let's just say decades of musical experience in the scene.
Decades, yeah, it is decades. It's almost, it's a very long time. But it's fantastic to be here, Dave. It's been a long time coming. I can't say what a fantastic and beautiful location you have.
Thank you for this. Thank you for the compliment. So let me just speak to you about the festival quickly. So you've got 5 years now with the festival. I was not able to come to the first one. So could you tell me a little bit about the first festival and the subsequent years after that?
Yeah, I guess Mucky Weekender now, like you said, this will be our 5th anniversary. We started in East Sussex, which is a really, really, really small affair, to be honest with you. It was kind of like something I've always wanted to do as a promoter, going back many, many years. I've always wanted to, as someone who performs at festivals every year, I thought I would just love to put on a festival. And the chance come up. A Dub Pistols fan happened to own a farm. He desperately always wanted to put on a festival, and he invited me to his land, a guy called Charles Vine. He invited me to his land and said, yeah, do with it as you will. And I was like, yeah, you know what, I'm going to go for it. Had I known then what I know now, I don't know if I'd have gone for it, because you don't realise until you actually get involved in running a festival. Turning up at a festival, performing at a festival, playing a festival is one thing. Running a festival is another whole beast. Oh, my dizzy days. So yeah, we put on the first event. I got involved with Will and Jess, who used to run Shindig, and they set up all the production. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I didn't even know how we were doing it. I subsequently found out later on that maybe we weren't doing it quite the way we should, in terms of what we'd actually done was just got some temporary licenses, which for anybody who doesn't know just means that you're setting up various different venues under an illegal sort of, not illegal because it's legal. Yes. It's legal. I'm not saying I did anything illegal. But we certainly hadn't gone to the council and told them what we were about to do. And we put on a festival, and I turned up. Will and Jess had done all the production, and they told me to stay away from the site, and I turned up like a day or two before, and they turned all the lights on, and bang, we had a festival.
Brilliant.
But there was only like realistic. In the first year, I think we had 900 people. Right. It was really. It was really like, you didn't know how it was going to go, didn't know what we were doing. They knew what they were doing. They did put on a good production and everything. But yeah, I mean, I was the face of it. I was the front of it. I was the person who was promoting it. And the Dub Pistols fan base, being what it is, supported it. And 900 people turned up. Wow. And it was just incredible. The vibe, everything was just electric. And we've just grown from there.
And it stayed non-corporate, which is amazing as well.
Yeah, it's really difficult for me, because obviously I'm fiercely independent in everything I've done. I always have been. Which kind of signs hypocritical, because I've been signed to majors. I play corporate festivals. But for me, it is about being independent. I've learnt the hard way. You get in bed with the devil and you're going to get burnt. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You're going to hell. And I don't mean that, if anyone out there who's in the corporate world or whatever, but, you lose your identity, you get told what to do, and you lose your creative control. It's something that happened to me in my music career. It's something that's, I've watched festivals over the years that have had a fantastic independent vibe, and the minute you get in bed with shareholders and things like that, then it becomes about profit and the bottom line, and that's when everything goes wrong. Not that everything shouldn't be about bottom line, obviously everybody wants to make money, but it's not always just about money.
I think you could say too many cooks
and being told to your bottom line, whereas as an artist, I'm someone who believes in the art.
Yeah.
you know, and I don't care how much it costs or how much money I've made. All I care about is making sure you deliver and you put something, whether it's performing, whether it's recording an album, whether it's putting on a festival, that you do something that you truly are so passionate about that the rest of it doesn't even matter.
Good words, mate. Very honestly, yeah, cut from the same cloth, because I know I've been through those things with my own events in the past. Right, I'm going to move on to my next question about the band. So you're coming up to 27. Well, it's 27 years since you formed the Dub Pistols. You've got 9 studio albums, right, with one on the way?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, again, it sounds really weird. Yeah, 27 years. And if you want to take in my whole career, I was trying to work it out the other day. I started in 1997, which would have been, you know, Dub Pistols formed 20 years later than that. So you can put another 20 years on top of that. So I've been performing or part of the club scene, which makes me really ancient, doesn't it? Which is kind of like weird, and it's gone by in a New York second. But yeah, Dub Pistols did start 1997, I think, or 96, when we put out our first record, and here we are now. But it's been a really, it feels like yesterday, and yet it feels like forever. You know, and our journey has been one, because my life has been, as it is, chaotic. You know, and I think I finally found a place in my life where I'm kind of happy, and I found out what's important, and I found out, you know, what it is about the industry and the things that I love, which has changed so much, that make me want to continue to do it. You know, I've had the most colourful, enjoyable journey ever, but I've been to hell and back doing it. Yeah. And most of that hell and back was because I inflicted it all on myself. You know, I, as everybody knows, you know, I've struggled with every kind of, whether it's drug abuse, substance abuse, alcohol abuse. You know, I wanted to live life the rock and roll way.
Yeah, no, totally. I understand. Which is that big temptation of the industry.
It certainly was. I don't know if it's so true these days. I think the generations have changed, but
we all know the past was
back in the day. Back in the day, you know, I don't think anybody who didn't party for 24 hours, and I used to party 24 hours, 7 days a week. I think, you know, I slept probably 1 or 2 hours a day, and that probably went on for years and years and years. But it did take its toll. And with these kind of, if you live in that kind of life, then you were going to find yourself in situations and trouble that you've brought on yourself. But
every story has a roots story, an origination. And our lives grew up in sort of the rave scene and the acid house scene, which was very much about hedonism.
It was totally, you know, I mean, I went to Ibiza in 1987. I was really into my sports at the time. I took ecstasy for the first time. And I didn't come down for about 20 years afterwards. Do you know what I mean? I suddenly went from someone who wanted to be a football player and was playing sports and God knows what every day, to someone whose life had changed overnight. Thought I could change the world. I know it sounds like a cliche, but I generally did, and I generally lived a life I loved and still love till this day. And it's taken me, I've been lucky enough that it's taken me all around the world. I've partied like, God knows how much it's cost me, because it's been an expensive life.
And all of this stuff's coming out. I understand you've got a book coming out.
Got a book and a documentary coming out.
That's right.
The book is more about my life and my journey, which I guess takes in 20 years before the Dub Pistols.
Right.
So that's kind of more about my life, and there was 20 years of running clubs, more being a promoter, more being an absolute caner, I guess, and a chancer, to going into the Dub Pistols and the birth of the Dub Pistols, which is what the documentary is about. The documentary is called What the Fuck Could Possibly Go Wrong? The history of the Dub Pistols, because it has been so chaotic for so many years.
Yeah.
That's changed now. You know, we got to a certain point where things got so bad that we had to change, or things had to change. And the band literally were leaving. They were going into, that to go. We were getting booed off stage. We were getting. It was just embarrassing, and we had to change. And then, within a year of changing that lifestyle, suddenly we won DJ Mag Best Live Act of the Year. We won 3 or 4, 5, 6 awards for being the best live act of the year, and the change was absolutely,
like a 180.
Yeah,
Amazing.
180, 360. We didn't go back to where we were, but it was chalk and cheese. And that's not to say the Dub Pistols give up partying or give up their beliefs or anything like that, but we became, I don't want to say professional because that would be,
How about balanced?
We became that the show was the most important thing.
Yeah, I see.
Do you know what I mean? Rather than before, we used to run around as if we'd won the cup before we kicked a ball. Do you know what I mean? And it was like, and score an own goal in the 90th minute.
I love that. No, I really do love that. And so also you've got a new album coming out, which is, as all of your albums, big collabs with lots and lots of the people you work with, such as you are doing with the festival now. But is there like a more of a collab with the freestylers on the new album?
Yeah, I work. The last Dub Pistols album, Frontline, which came out a couple of years ago or a year or so ago, can't even remember. But that I did a few tracks on that with Aston from the Freestylers, who I've known forever, and we've worked, from our early days at Big Beat to the break scene to whatever, and someone I used to tour America with and I'm very good friends with. We got in the studio and he helped co-produce and write a few songs on the last album, and I mean he's a fantastic producer and he's a fantastic writer and guy, and it just felt like, right, okay, I think the time's right for us to do a collaboration and take back. I think Big Beat became a dirty word for many people. It's kind of weird. It was probably one of the biggest scenes, a bit like dubstep when it was around. More artists came out of that scene and had hits than you can possibly imagine. Fatboy Slim, the Chemical Brothers, the Propeller Heads, Wall of Sound, Skint Records, the artists, Wise Guys. There were so many big bands and hit records that came out of that genre, and yet it was like dubstep. It suddenly fell off a cliff. And in fact, this takes me back to our first album, Point Blank, which we signed to Concrete Records, which were part of Deconstruction. And when people first heard that record, our first record, There's Gonna Be a Riot, became like Steve Lamac's single of the week, became Radio 1 single of the week. Everybody was lauding us up. Everybody was saying, we're the next big thing. And then by the time we'd finished our first album, suddenly the big beat scene had imploded. And I think we got called the sound of Norman Sweaty Jockstrap. Do you know what I mean? In one of the reviews. You always remember the bad reviews. And we'd had a hit with Cyclone, and then the album came out, and there was this massive backlash, as there was against, like I said, your dubstep, and we literally fell off a cliff, and we couldn't catch a cold. Out of that, a guy called Gary Richards, who owned a record label in America, signed us to A&M Records, and the record label let us go, and we went off to America, and we had some huge success with the album Point Blank. That was absolutely going fine. And then just as we were about to start recording, I think we were, God knows where we were in the billboards, but again, we won loads of awards in America, and then A&M went bankrupt.
Right.
Do you know, this is what's all come out in the documentary. It's like, what could possibly go wrong?
I see.
Everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
and you've got your own label now, Cyclone Records. Is that, again, something that you're doing to, say, nurture those kind of like pitfalls?
No, I think after you've had a career as long as ours, and we've been signed to Geffen Records, Universal Records, Warner's, Sony, A&M, and various other labels, that you get to a point, and the music industry's changed so much, that we have we're not going to be the next big thing, Dave. We're not. You know what I mean? It's like, when you get to a certain age, what we have done is built up a fantastic, loyal fan base. that is. So we're more like a cult thing now, and we have this, like I said, thanks to every single person out there that supported us. So I don't need a record label anymore. The industry has changed. It's more about now selling direct to our fan base and, pre-selling our records. And I can do all that without somebody else taking 50% for doing absolute bugger all or not doing bugger all. Because the problem is when you're relying on other people, you think they're doing their job and they're not.
Yeah.
So it was just about taking control of what you're doing, and just trying to be other thing I wanted to do, trying to be transparent, as we spoke about earlier on, trying to be as upfront as you can, because again the charts have changed. I think our last record went in at number 3. The way Spotify and that, once Spotify and the streaming numbers kick in, it's so. I don't even want to go into how not corrupt. I don't think that's the right word, but how fudged it is that you will suddenly topple out. But we ended up with a number 3 record. Huge success. But again, those numbers compared to the old days are nothing what you would expect these days.
Well, something I wanted to say is that what you're doing with your label, and what I'm understanding from what you're telling me, is that you're really kind of connecting to the fans directly with this. So it's kind of like a bit, and I can bring this back to the festival, because the festival, each year, you have a group of, like you said, your fan base, and you go to them to choose the theme, which I absolutely love. And last year was Space. This year is the Mad Hatter's Tea Party.
I think you of course, like I said to you, they're the people that that keep me in a job and let me, enable me to have the life and live the life that I do. But it's like without them, there is absolutely nothing. So of course, they're a massive, massive, massive part. Every time you're down, every time you're whatever, these, everybody, they pick you up.
Yes,
they lift you up. Do you know what I mean? It's like, in the old days, I used to really fear about, not fear, the only thing I'd ever remember was like bad reviews or this, you never remember what the good things people say about you.
Well, as a party planner, they always say you're remembered by your last bad party and never your best party.
Yeah, and exactly the same. But, we have, because of the loyal, I don't even like calling them fans. You know what I mean? They're family to me.
Family.
They're family. That we don't have to worry about what press or whether or not we're going to get played on a playlist or whatever. That means nothing.
No,
it means nothing. It's like It's like what means everything is the family that we have got go out and support you every single time.
I read a story today in one of your interviews about a lady from Australia who's come all the way over to Mucky Weekender on her own and ended up making so many friends that they're like family to her now, extended family for lifetime.
And she makes the journey every year now.
Wow.
So that's that. I mean, that's incredible. But that's the whole point about the festival is you'll come alone and you'll leave with 1,000 new friends, and it is such. You've been there, Dave. You've been part of it. It is such a unique vibe. The site's cleaner when we leave than it is when we arrive, and that's not to say that our crowd don't know how to party. They do, but they're respectful.
Yeah,
there's never been one incident there. So, and for that, I'm eternally grateful.
I've got moving over. Speaking of family, actually, your wife Alona and yourself are actually massive, logistical, basically running not just this festival, but a lot more than just the festival between the two of you. Behind the scenes, a day in the life of the two of you, sort of inside the festival, outside the festival. Is there similarities, or is it sort of when you're working together and your home life, are they totally different?
No, I think I think my wife's quite unique. She's really, really, really tolerant. And first of all, she was the one who saved my life and told me, I think on our first date, I had a cocaine psychotic meltdown at a club we were in, and I got carried out and thrown out the club. And she turned around on that day, on our first day, I think she realised quite how bad I was. And she said, you need to choose now, it's either me or this. And to be honest, I was kind of done. I knew that I'd done with my life as I was anyway. I wasn't happy. So she changed that side of me around. That's not to say, like I said to you, it's not to say I don't drink or I don't do whatever, but I choose my moments, and those, it's living the life you want to do rather than the life living you. And she's personally, she's the one who runs the whole festival. Without her, it couldn't happen, because she is the nuts and bolts. She's sitting behind that computer literally for a year, doing every part of an aspect of it. Well, yes, we got a team round us, but she's the one who makes it all happen. I come up with like ideas and that, and I'm more of the ideas man, but she'll make it happen. She'll make me rein myself in. She'll tell me what we can and can't do, and she literally, is literally running the festival. Yeah. I'm just the face of it and the front of it, and I might go out and meet, greet and party with everyone and promote it, but she's the one who actually makes it all happen.
Wonderful. It is a very inspiring partnership that you both have, and it can be seen when you visit the festival just how much of a personal touch you both put onto it. So moving on for the last couple of questions, this festival coming up this year, as we spoke about before, it's on Thursday the 5th, 6th and 7th of September. Mad Hatter's Tea Party theme, which I'm very much looking forward to, and an extra day as well. So what can we expect?
I mean, that extra day, the mad thing about it, I was worried about doing the extra day, especially with it being a Thursday. I think over 65% of people are now arriving on a Thursday, so it's going to be absolutely crazy. Open it up on Thursday this year. We've got the Utah Saints, Bez and Rowetta, JFB, Beatles Dub Club, A Skills, Jamie Roddick and Dave Sun. That's going to be absolutely wild. And throughout the whole weekend, again, we're not a mainstream festival. I try to program from my heart and from artists that I actually know and believe in. It's going to be, it's going to be special again. Every year we've been lucky that the bar's been raised, and it's quite hard every time that it goes. Every year, because you've got to make everything better. But this year you've got the Jewelers, Dirty Moonshine, Dread Zone, LTJ Bookham, London Electricity, Dynamite, Crafty Cuts, Plump DJs, Marshall Jefferson, Back to Basics, who I've known for years, are probably the most legendary club in Leeds and up north. We got them doing a takeover. We got Cole Loban and Irving Welsh doing their Jack Said What takeover. Jungle Cakes with Congo Natty, amazing. Ed Solo, Decline, Benny Page, G Shells, and so many more. We've got Alternate, we've got like Slipmat, we've got and we've also got new things coming through, like the Girls Next Door and Maddie V and DJ Maya, and so many. So we're trying to get that balance of stuff that I absolutely know, but also bringing and nurturing talent that's coming through.
Excellent. I really can't wait for it this year. I'm so excited. And another thing, I really love the fact that on Sunday, most festivals go till Sunday night and then you go home and you recover for Monday morning. Your festival finishes on Saturday night and everyone just sort of gradually gets back into the flow through their Sunday.
I think the important thing is, and a lot of festivals do this, they sweep the floor at a certain time, and we like I said, we go through Thursday, we're going till Sunday, we finish Sunday morning, but you're not being kicked off site straight away. You don't have to get off site till 4 or 5 or whatever. You're not going to rush anybody off. Safety is the most, that is the primary. That's what you got to look after everybody. So you're not being rushed off. You can have your night out. You can recover, sleep it off, get up, get some breakfast, hang out, chill out, and then just leave at your will on Sunday. Yeah. It's just as not music, but you're not being kicked off site.
It's the most wonderful site, I might add, as well. And everything you need is there and more. It's always enlightening, inspiring, and let's just say entertaining it to the max. So last question, Barry. Heard it here first. You can tell me anything you want that you don't think you've told anyone before. It can be from your past, your present, or your future.
Heard it here before. I've got a brand new reggae album coming out. Did I mention that?
No, you didn't.
Oh, there you go. So I've been working, as well as the album with the Freestylers, I've got an album that I've been working on with Nick Manasseh. And it's the first time ever, because Dub Pistols are normally so eclectic, that we are doing a reggae album. And it's all live instrumentation as opposed to programming, etc. And I've probably sung on this album more than I've ever done before. Wow,
that's amazing. Thank you so much, Barry. I look forward to seeing you at the festival. Thanks again for coming in.
My pleasure.